Hi, folks. Did I tell you I wanted to become a singer once? Did I tell you I wanted to become a poet? Did I tell you I wanted to have 2 or 3 acres of land and a pond and a canoe on it? And I would take ladies out in the boat and serenade to them. Can you believe that? Can you believe a teenager would have those kind of dreams? I thought it was going to work, and I worked to make it happen. I was writing poems in high school. I got low grades on my poems because they did not rhyme. When I went to college, I showed some of my poetry to the literary magazine editors, and they said, we don't publish stuff like this in our magazine. Your writing is not quite up to our standards. What a surprise it was. The next publication, I had several of the poems I had given them published in that magazine. That was at Kentucky Southern College in Louisville, which merged with University of Kentucky. Well, that was the beginning, and I went to Western Kentucky University from there. And that's another story. It's because I wasn't a good student, and I was either switch colleges or drop out totally. So I went to Western Kentucky University, and I had a girlfriend who loaned me money to print 1,000 books called When Twilight Begins. When Twilight Begins sold out. 32 pages. 32 pages. Just a blue cover with a title and script, When Twilight Begins. And that was the beginning, 1969. Now I'll tell you right now, so you won't figure it out. I'm 74 years old. On the 13th of this month, January the 13th, January the 13th, 2024. Boy, I'm getting old, aren't I? Can't even remember numbers. I'll be 75. Put out 4 new books last 4 years. You won't be able to find them on Amazon unless you look under my name, Jim Wortham. And I just threw out the titles, not because I am begging for sales, just so that you'll believe me if you look on there. It's called The Seasons of Love, The Seasons of Seasons of Love, The Seasons of Fall, The Seasons of Winter, and The Seasons of Spring. But you gotta look under Jim Wortham. Let me tell you, just so you don't get the big wild idea that it's easy to become a poet these days. There's too many of us poets out there. And That's why if you put the title of the book on there, it probably won't come up because there could be 100 or 1,000 books a day being uploaded on Amazon. So they go by author only until you reach a level of fame to where you're known by the title of the book. So 1969, first book. After that, it was about 2 books before I came out with I Believe in Love. It didn't have much money. It was a 24-page book instead of 32. And hey, let me tell you how I sold that book. Back then you could get poetry magazines, and they would have the address of other poets in there. I would send a promotional advertisement with my picture and 2 or 3 poems on it to them, and for $1, had a little coupon on it. For $1, they got it post-paid, the 24-page book. We sold out of that book 1,000 copies. Then I started going with 64-page books with the thanks of Peter McWilliams, the poet that sold 2 million books according to his self-report. And I got to know Peter McWilliams pretty well. 2 million copies. Can you imagine that? You won't make $1 a copy. Let me just tell you that right off the bat, because the bookstore gets between 40 and 50%. And then you got to pay for printing. Then if you have a distributing company, they may take up to 55% distributing company. But if you don't go with a distributing company and the bookstore buys direct, it's at least 40%, maybe 50%. So no one's getting rich in this game. Just thought I'd let you know that, to let you know that it's very difficult to achieve financial independence in the book business. Even more now, because there's more books being published, self-published. Right now on Amazon, if you know what you're doing on a PDF file, I don't even know what a PDF file looks like, but if you know how to do a PDF file and can type your book on it, you can upload it for free on Amazon, and your book is available. It can be available worldwide. They'll take out the cost of printing when the book's sold. They'll take out a small royalty and you get the rest. It's the way it runs. That's why it's so hard to make a living off of it now, because there's so many people doing that. Now I'm just sort of chatting with you right now to let you know my own path was to publish a book every 9 months before Amazon, before anything but bookstores being chain bookstores. Let me tell you who I sold books through, and you'll understand why I was able to live to some degree on the sales of the bookstores. They took 40%. If I sold it through the chain and the chain bought it for all the stores, it was 50%. I paid postage. Barnes & Noble booksellers. Walden Books. B. Dalton Booksellers, Books A Million. Now, card shops wanted an additional 10%. So, figure that out. And all these stores wanted return policy, which means the books that did not sell, they could return it for cash or for other books that you may publish. So that was the adventure of, that's not all the adventure. I went to book conventions. I went to New York City, Atlanta, Chicago. They all had book conventions. Nashville, Indiana. I'm sorry, Nashville, Tennessee. I went to all these places to promote my book. I would have a booth, and people would come by, meet me, place orders. It was fun. And then at night, sometimes the major book publishers would say, if they liked you, the major book publishers, why don't you come down to our get-together? Let me tell you about the get-togethers. Get-togethers would be in a major hotel. There would be one suite, one whole floor. Wine, cheese, food, buffet, anything you wanted, all night long. Not just an hour, not just 2 hours, all night long. You mix and mingle with other book distributors, book chain buyers, and they'd meet you and they'd say, tell us about your book. Well, here's some samples. Take the samples home with you. If you like them, here's the contact information on how to contact me. Orders came in from Canada, from Australia, in England, but I can't tell you exactly where in England. And we had a good old time. That's when it used to be the way it was, before Amazon came out. Well, I haven't been able to compete very well getting the same sales. I do get sales from Amazon. Get a lot of sales from Amazon. However, not anything like back then. I had one book distributor, American Book, what was his name? Associated Booksellers. Covered the whole United States. What he did was he had booksellers like you and me, but they sold books for a living. And they covered independent bookstores, not the chains, but the independent bookstores. And some of the chains also, to be fair, some of the chains. And you paid them a percentage of the sales. Always remember, the bookstores got at least 40 to 50% discount. Then you paid the book seller, or in this case, bookseller, about 15%. So if you think you can get rich, If you think I got rich, it didn't happen, but I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun. The trip was worth it. And I'm still in it. I'm still in it. If you looked at my name, for example, Jim Wortham, under Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, you'll find some books there. You'll find books, very old books too. Touching You, Touching Me. Last printing was 1974, I believe. Went through 7 printings. I stowed the title. I stole the title Touching You, Touching Me from Neil Diamond's album. Did you know you can't copyright titles? That sucker just took off and flew. I put it through about 4 different covers. Finally got a real pretty girl on the cover, and it just took off. Well, this has just been a fun video. There's no reason for it to have a purpose. It doesn't have a purpose other than saying that I'll keep publishing books. I'll keep doing YouTube just for myself. Nobody's going to be looking at this video enough to make me a daggone penny. So don't even worry about putting a thumbs up. Don't worry about being a subscriber unless you just feel led to. Just doing this for fun, and I wish you a good evening. Thanks for being here.